reason that technique cannot always look perfect. There's a few reasons. And I'm going to get into some of the reasons that apply to the people watching on YouTube and TV, because this is going to be the most important one. When you're playing tennis against, let's say, a futures level, a challengers level, particularly the futures, challengers, college players, 10 UTRs, 11 UTRs, around that range, okay? When you're playing against these people, what you see on TV and what you see even on YouTube is not what it feels like on.
Let's go. Come on. Right here.
Okay, these guys hit hard, and they hit with a lot of different spins, and the ball bounces different ways. And if you haven't experienced this, then you're probably not gonna really truly understand. And I recently released a video, the one talking about Baby Federer, the guy I hit with at a futures tournament, and you'll see me occasionally hitting decent and then occasionally just looping balls, not even on purpose, slicing balls, trying to keep the ball in the court. And this is part of the reason why that's happening. And a lot of times we're not talking about, which I'm going to get into here, we're not talking about a match, but this can apply to a match too. I remember coaching at a club once, and I just started working there, and I wanted to get more involved, and then, I kept asking to be more involved in the high performance area. So eventually the guy that ran the high performance, he threw me in. He's like, "Angelo, come on the court." So I come out on the court, and he goes, "Go down to court one." And he's like, "Yeah, go down to court one and get some." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So I go down to court one, and this kid's like 17, and man, he is like whipping the ball like crazy. And I had just stepped on the court. And this is how it always is too. You just step on the court, and these guys are just being themselves. And you can't keep good form. It's impossible. It's like literally impossible. And this is the thing. People just don't understand this. And it doesn't apply. I've talked about this before. It doesn't apply to a match. And I want to get into this, why a lot of these players look the way they look and they adapt the ball this way, because this is what they do a lot of. They rally a lot. They spar a lot. they get in what they might call rhythm hitting, but they're full of ego. They're full of like, I gotta be better than you. I gotta beat you, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about sparring. That's what you're trying to do, and this has nothing to do with a match. For them, it's their world. It has everything to do with the match, because this is how they play their matches. And then if you look at guys like, guys like Roger Federer and, all the other big names, and you watch, they don't have to hit with these guys. I'm going to use Roger Federer as an example. From 2000 to 2020, he doesn't hit with these guys at all. I mean, he might hit with them occasionally, but just go on YouTube before the tournaments and look at the guys he's hitting with. Look at how they're hitting. Look at their game style. He can have his own practice partners. He can have people feeding him balls the way he wants to. He's Roger Federer. Most people don't have that privilege. And so this is kind of like they're kind of stuck with this. They don't have a choice. And to sit there and get overtaken in these sparring events all the time, because you understand this, is very difficult to do. To humble yourself in that way. I mean, no one at that age is doing that. So what they do, and they do this in a match, they go out and they fight each other. Who can hit the biggest, who can win these little sparring boxing matches. And here's the thing. A lot of them think this is real, because to them it's real. Think of this. If you're not around this, and again, you don't understand this. You're playing the 12 and unders, you're the bigger kid, and you're out there and you're winning matches because you're bigger, faster, and stronger. And then you're going undefeated. Then you're going to 14s. Maybe you win half of them, lose half of them. And then you become 14. Now you're winning all of them. And these are the guys that are going into these are the guys that are winning. These are the guys that are playing college tennis. The winners, the physical winners. They're physically dominating everyone until they get to a point where they're on the same physical level as the other guy, and then maybe that guy dominates them. Maybe they go to college and they finally get dominated themselves. But it doesn't matter, because now they're playing number one for Georgia. Or I'm sorry. Now they're playing for Georgia in general. So it doesn't really matter to them. They've already made it. So this is how this works. And then you could think of, like, even on the pro tour, then they get to, say, the top 100, and they're playing a guy like Roger Federer, or they're playing a guy like Adrian Manarino. And these guys know how to play tennis a different way. And again, now they're getting beat based on a much better all-around complete tennis player. And again, it doesn't matter, because you've made it. In their mind, they've made it to the top 100. They've made it to the top 200, etc. It's good enough. And I'm perfectly fine with all that. I'm not saying that that's not true. But I'm just explaining in this video how it works and why it happens, and why, really why it doesn't matter. The ones that are getting coached, the ones that are going into the top 100 that don't play college tennis, they don't do this. If you don't think that's true, just do your own research, look at the details yourself. But back to what I was saying, that this sparring activity. The back and forth, I think that the idea of sparring isn't a bad thing, but when it's carried out too much. It's the norm. It's what's mostly being done on a regular basis. It's wrong. It's a warm-up. That's all you're doing, is warming up the body. You really don't want to develop your strokes this way. However, you need to be able to do it at some point. You need to be able to participate in it with kind of like, with a objective mind, not being so emotionally invested. Because again, when you get into the match, you don't need to play like that. It doesn't matter. And why doesn't it matter in a match? Well, it doesn't matter in a match because you don't need to hit cross court. That's a misconception. That's a teaching for beginners. Cross courts, technique development, etc. You don't need to hit cross court. It starts with the serve. Same thing with the serve. You can serve in a way that the ball doesn't come back. It doesn't come back so heavy and hard. You can serve in a way that the ball doesn't come back so heavy and hard. And you can also return in a way. It's called the backspin. And you can use backspin so that you can control the rallies and keep the rallies at a certain pace, keep the rallies at a certain level where you're not losing control and you're not having to lose control over your technique. This can be done in a match. But again, in sparring, when you're sparring, it can be done to a certain degree. Because once a player gets a hold of one of those balls the way they want to, I mean, the same thing can happen. The same thing can happen in a match. But again, the every point's different, and the point gets restarted, and it's a new way for the player to change and do different things to not allow that to happen. You know, I don't know if this makes sense, if this is coming through. Let me know down in the comments. Like the video if you understand, if you want to see more of this. And I appreciate you watching, and have a great day.